Well, hi. Today is Monday, January 12th, 2026. I'm Todd Studer, and this is Morning Coffee. There's a lot of exciting things happening over at Council Bluffs Schools, and more specifically at Thomas Jefferson. One of the exciting things is they have a new head football coach that'll be helping the Yellow Jackets this fall. His name is Ryan Hoden, and this is kind of a coming home party for him because he is an alumni from TJ, and we are going to bring him into the studio today, learn a little bit more about his background, his coaching career so far, and what he anticipates is going to be happening for Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Is actually kind of interesting because we recorded this on Friday, and he was going to be meeting with his team for the first time right after we did the interview. So you'll be able to see he's like ready to go. It's a fun interview, and it's coming up today on Morning Coffee. Morning Coffee brought to you by Steve Erlob, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. You know that technology should work for you, not against you. And at ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. From cybersecurity and cloud services to network management and tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit ThinkSpaceIT.com. Morning Coffee brought to you by Bryce Taylor and GLI Insurance Group, proud to call Southwest Iowa home. You know, around here, we look out for each other, whether it's helping a neighbor, supporting a local business, or making sure your home and family are protected when life happens. That's what GLI is all about. Neighbors helping neighbors, one policy at a time.
Well, as we mentioned, Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson has a new head football coach, and this is him, Mr. Ryan Hoden. Congratulations, Coach, on the job. Thank you so much for coming in today. And I'm excited to learn a little bit more about this, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
This is what I heard. It was kind of like coming home for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background.
So I'm 2003 graduate of Thomas Jefferson High School, played football there. Then went to Dana College on a football scholarship and academic scholarship. I had a semester to finish up on my degree, and so I coached a year at Dana College in 2007 as a student assistant, coaching the defensive line. And then my first teaching and coaching job was actually at Thomas Jefferson in 2008. And so I was there for 5 years before moving to Missouri. I went down to Missouri, a small town just south of Kansas City called Drexel, Missouri. Was an assistant coach there for 2 years before taking over as the head coach in 2015. Was the head coach there for 4 years, and then had the opportunity to come back home to the Omaha area and coaching at Omaha South and teaching at Omaha South. Was the defense coordinator there for 3 years, and then Ben Ryan reached out to me when he got the head job at Westview, and I started coaching over there. And I've been the offense coordinator and strength and conditioning coordinator for the last 4 years over at Westview.
So actually getting started, to me, it would be a little bit backwards to start your coaching career at the college level and then go to high school. Did it learn anything starting at coaching in college that carried over and helped you coaching at the high school level?
So I think just the organizational piece of handling position group at such a young age. You know, I was a student assistant and charged with working with the defensive line there. So sitting in all of those meetings and practice planning, and we went 7 days a week. And so just all of those little nuances that went into coaching at the collegiate level, 7 days a week doing that stuff, kind of prepared me for what high school was going to be like.
I think, though, that from what I have seen at the high school level, you're actually busier because you don't have as big of a team around you handling some of this stuff. I know from my vantage point, I used to be a sportscaster, and when I would do college games, I got people feeding me information all game long.
Yep.
High school, not so much. So,
Yep.
At the high school, a lot more of it falls on your shoulders.
Yep. So when I was a head coach down in Drexel, a real small school, I was one of 3 coaches. And a couple of years, I was fortunate enough to have a few more guys that volunteered to help fill out the staff, which was nice. But, at Westview, we had, I think, 16 coaches on staff. Not all of them paid, but we had a really big staff out at Westview. But it's the largest staff I was a part of. At Omaha South, we had to coach multiple positions, both sides of the ball. Even though I was the D coordinator, I also coached offensive line 1 year and receivers another year. So, definitely a lot busier at the high school level compared to the college level when it comes to managing multiple aspects of it.
So I'm assuming, obviously, at this point, you've had an opportunity to meet some of the players that you're going to have this fall. How did that go?
Well, actually, I've met only a handful of them.
Okay.
When they did the introduction, and this afternoon I'm going to get to meet the rest of the team. So I'll get back to you on that one. But I'm hopeful, really. I hope it goes really well, and I would assume it would.
Well, I know also that there has been a shift that's been occurring at TJ. And I think I credit Luke Peterson for a lot of it, and with what his leadership is bringing there, that when you get your team to believe before they hit the field, that's got to be the biggest part of it. And if they know that, hey, we can play in this game and we have an opportunity in this game, then that's truly what I think is the outcome that you're after.
Yeah, absolutely. Think back to that old saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get the kids to believe, they're going to go out and give you everything they have. You know, whether it's a win or a loss, you know you're going to get the best out of your kids if you can get them to believe.
Do you have people that you look back in your life as mentors with that side of it? Some of the coaches maybe that you've had over your career?
Yeah, so the first high school coach I coached for was Steve Kozad, and his mantra that first year in 2008 when we went to the playoffs was "We believe," and so that was just the focus of it, getting the kids to believe. And then I've had different coaches over the years use the next play mentality. In fact, my first year down in Missouri, or first year as head coach in Missouri, we had some of the kids that would come over when either a player or even a coach would start to get worked up about a call that maybe official made, and even the kids would believe that next play mentality and say, "Hey, coach, we got you next play." So, I mean, that's just a lot of different guys in my life that have had similar beliefs on that, to just getting the kids believing or even moving on to that next play.
From my vantage point, from whether it was in a booth or sometimes on a sideline, I could tell if a team had that.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what score was.
Yep.
I could tell. I remember a play. I was up in Northwest Iowa. I think it was Harris Lake Park. I was covering them. And I saw a young man down the field, and he ran for probably 50, 60 yards off of short reception, got called back for a holding penalty. And as he's trotting back, there was no disappointment. He wasn't upset about it. What I saw was belief. We just proved that we can do that. And that's that's coaching. That's coaching that does that and instills that belief in their kids.
Yeah, I mean, I think as coaches, we have a humongous impact on that part of the game. Talent is talent, but if you can teach the kids how to respond to adversity, that's one of the biggest tasks we have as coaches.
Are you going to be coming in with a coaching style such as we're going to play this type of game, or are you going to wait and see where your talent is and kind of mold your attack based on that talent?
Yeah, so I come from a physical background on either side of the ball. Defensively, I've always kept it really simple. That way, the kids will play fast. The less they have to think, the faster they're going to play. The easier they'll understand the schemes and what they're seeing coming at them. Offensively, again, I come from a physical background. Steve Kozad ran the football a lot. When I coached for Mark Puev, it was a little more spread, so it was a little bit more balanced. Offensively, my offenses have evolved over the years. So the base run and base pass have stayed similar, but out at Westview, first couple of years we had tight ends. 2 years ago we used 6 tight ends, rotating them, sometimes 4 tight end sets. And then this past season, we were a lot more 3 and 4 wide receiver, but base play still stayed the same. So the style of play really depends on the kids, but the scheme doesn't change that much because we want to keep it simple, so that way over the years it can just keep growing.
It sounds like you're not planning on coming in and doing like a wholesale completely different style change. I've seen some places where traditional running team, and all of a sudden they're running an empty backfield and they got 5 receivers every play, and they completely changed when a new coach came in. Doesn't sound like that's what you're thinking about, though.
I mean, if we didn't have a running back and we had 5 receivers, and we had if we were like Millard South and had a Jet Tamala, I mean, maybe you could sell that to the kids, but I think that a system is what stands the test of time, because then it doesn't matter what type of kids you have. Mm-hmm. You can find a way to get those kids on the field, and through formations that fit them and plays that fit them, get them the football. If you're constantly changing scheme, then the kids are going to get confused each and every year, and you're basically starting from square one. So I think the biggest thing is coming and establishing what our system is, finding out what players we have and how we can run that, and then from there every season building off of that.
Is there goals that you've set for yourself and for the team heading into a new season on a first year?
So for me, it's just to get the most out of each of those players. I want to establish a foundation with those guys and build great young men, get them to compete each and every game. I think if you can, like you said earlier, if we can get them to believe, some of those games that were really close for Thomas Jefferson last year could turn into wins for them, and then you start to turn that corner. And the biggest thing is getting those kids to learn to win when they do finally believe. So
You just said something that reminded me of a coach that I met back in the 90s. His name was Ron Skipper. He was the coach of Central College for over 30 years, had that long of a streak of winning seasons, and asked him about, hey, who are you going to be going out and recruiting? What kind of players are you looking for? And what he said was, we're recruiting young men.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. When you said that reminded me of that level of, that's the goal. That's really the goal, because the most of these young men are going to be as adults.
Absolutely.
Their entire life, the most they'll be as adults. You are shaping that as they head into that. Hopefully some of them will be able to go on to the next level, and you never know where that cap might be. But first and foremost, it has to be that.
Absolutely. I think that's our number one job as coaches, is to build young men. Wins and losses are going to happen, but the biggest thing is growing them as young men who are going to go out and be productive in society.
Did you always know, even back when you were still a player, that coaching was the direction you wanted to head?
Actually, I wanted to be an architectural engineer.
Okay.
Al Hudek, who was my trigonometry teacher, as I was going through the recruiting process, said, Ryan, you're really good at math. Why don't you go be a math teacher and a football coach? You seem like you'd be good at that. So that was kind of the direction I took. And after a semester of doing math education classes, I wasn't really into it. I was good at it, but not into it. And so I came home for Christmas break and talked with my parents, and took some time to reflect, and enrolled. Was still taking those interim classes at Dana over that right after Christmas break, and decided let's give PE a shot. So I got in those classes and just kind of fell in love with what I was doing, and from there just kind of took off, being a strength and conditioning coach and football coach.
Was it a little bit of a surreal experience for you coming back to those hallways as faculty, as opposed to a student?
Yeah, it was. The school had changed just within those 5 years since I had been in the halls slightly. Some of those halls were under construction when I was a student there, and then I come back and they're completed. And even now, coming back into the halls since taking the head job, they look even different too. But it definitely was surreal. Looking at all the changes, feeling like, hey, I'm going to make an impact at the place that made an impact on me.
I'm assuming that there's some of the same faces back when you were a student still teaching there.
There were when I first started teaching.
Yeah.
I don't know how many there are now, so I'm excited to get into the building and meet all the faculty there. And I think some of them are still there, but I think there's been a lot of turnover.
Well, that's going to be that way anywhere, but still, it's kind of a life coming full circle thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not just for you, for anybody that happened to be there when you were a student. It amazes me, even in large schools like TJ, how much the teachers remember.
Yeah. From
students from 10, 15, 20 years ago even. You're imprinted in them just as much as they're imprinted in you.
Definitely. Bob Nielsen's still the track coach there, so he was one of the first guys to congratulate me when I came into the building, and had a lot of great teachers over the years. John Kinsel was another guy who had an impact on my life getting into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Doug Mulig, all the great coaches that I had there. So they had an impact on me, and hopefully I had a similar impact on them.
Are you anticipating a good turnout for tryouts for the team, and getting a lot of kids bought into the fact that, hey, we want to give you an opportunity? Because this is something else that I know too, is that group feeds into the younger players, and that those programs just have to keep going down and down. So it's not just a varsity that you're leading here.
Yep. So that's kind of gonna be my message today to those kids: is this is a new start for everybody. Everybody's got a clean slate, no matter what their past was, and we're hoping to get as many kids out there as we can. And there's going to be opportunities for everybody to be leaders, opportunities to get on the field. One of the first stops I made on the day they introduced me was I went down to Wilson and started talking to some of those kids, watching how they were working out. So, that's going to be the start of my message to them today. Is it's a new start for you guys, and you all have opportunities here.
Also, You're going to have upperclassmen coming in and seniors, and they're going to want to know that what they're doing matters too. This isn't just about building for the future. It's also about what can we accomplish right now.
Absolutely. So that's one of the groups that I got to get hold of real quick, and get with them on how we're going to handle leadership of the team and what the expectations are for them. Again, that's another part of my message today is those leadership opportunities, and you're, as seniors, the extension of the coaching staff, relaying our message to the guys and relaying any concerns they have back to us. And so, I'm excited to get to work with those young men.
I have been a big believer in athletics and extracurricular, regardless of what it is. Sometimes it might be the arts, but also, especially in sports, because I've seen what it can do for people. And one of the lessons that I took out of it that I still carry now into the business that I have is the wins and losses. Now, for me, it would be sales. It would be how much money am I generating from sales for sponsorships. That cannot be the goal. Wins and losses, if that is the end-all, be-all, you're in trouble. But if that is the metric of how you gauge everything else that you're doing, and that is the job, then the wins and losses take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
And I've seen this in different places with teams that were perennial 2, maybe 3-win seasons, winning state in Iowa. I've seen it happen with that mentality.
Yeah. So in my interview, in my coaching philosophy that I handed to some of the interview committee members, it says right into the exact same thing you were talking about, that our goal is going to be to build great young men in the community, in the school, on the football field, and the wins and losses will take care of themselves if we can build great young men. So I truly believe exactly what you're saying. It's documented on paper and has been given to people that offered me this position.
It's kind of cool that you came in today, because I know that you have to have been preparing for this talk that you're going to give the players today. Yeah. And you got a little bit of an energy about you, a little bit of buzz about you. I'm sure that's been building all week, knowing that this day is coming.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I had this big presentation ready to go for the kids. And I'd asked Luke, if we'd have something for me to put the PowerPoint up and talk through it. And then I actually just randomly ran across a post from a veteran coach. I can't remember his name. It was on X, but he said, "Oh, so you're going to your first interview with your team?" I'm thinking, well, yeah, I am. And so I clicked on the link and I started reading it, and he said, "They want to trust you, but trust is built over time. Don't go in and give them this big spiel and here's our plan for the offseason. Go in, introduce yourself, tell them how much you care about them, and then just open it up and have a conversation, kind of like what we're having." Yeah. And so my message obviously is going to be that introduction, and tell them, about the leadership opportunities, about me as a coach, how I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to tell them where they stand. I'm going to advocate for them. I'm going to love them. I'm going to build them as young men. And then I'm going to open it up and let them express their concerns and have their questions, and kind of have an organic conversation with my team today. So I went from trying to have everything detailed and planned out to let's just let this happen naturally so I can get to know these kids and they can get to know me.
I am a believer that we all benefit with success from schools in Council Bluffs. It's kind of a strange town because there's a lot of rivalry.
Yeah, there is.
Internally, there's rivalry. And sometimes I think it can go even a little bit too far. But for me, it is, if TJ does well, Council Bluffs does well. If AL does well, Council Bluffs does well. Lewis Central, St. Albert. It doesn't matter that we should be cheering on, because these are our neighbors. A lot of these kids, they go to church together. They're in other activities outside of school that they know each other. So I'm excited for what it is that you're going to be bringing to TJ, and I'm looking forward to watching the journey and just seeing what can happen. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. Thank you. I'm really excited to do this. I know it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be tough. Like I told the guys on the interview committees that, I know what I'm getting into, and I'm ready to do this. So, a lot of the conversations I've had with some of the staff that I'm going to be bringing on, same message to them. I hope you know what we're getting into, and this is going to be a fun ride if we all get on board and develop young men.
Well, and welcome back to the right side of the river.
Thank you very much.
He's Ryan Hoden. He is the new head football coach at Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Appreciate you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Since 1870, Avela Bank has been providing Iowans with high-quality financial products and services to fit their needs. You might need a new loan, or you're starting a new business account. How about saving money for a trip, or just opening a personal checking account? Avela's qualified bankers can help you with all of that and more. Visit avela.bank to learn more. If you like driving, you know you can get paid for it as a first student bus driver. You'll work short hours, earn a competitive wage, make a difference in the lives of children, and that pay starts with a sign-on bonus. Fully licensed drivers get a sign-on bonus of $4,000. And those who don't have your CDL yet, once you get it, you will have a sign-on bonus of $3,000. Plus, every driver gets on-the-job training. Don't wait. Apply today at workatfirst.com. The new year has begun, and the Acres in Council Bluffs is ready to help couples and organizations plan unforgettable celebrations. Set on 13 beautiful acres, the Acres offers a flexible, stress-free venue with no hidden fees and full freedom to choose your own vendors. From weddings and receptions to corporate gatherings and milestone events, the space comfortably hosts up to 200 guests with everything needed for a seamless experience. Start the new year by securing the perfect setting for your next event. Learn more, schedule a tour at theacresvenue.com. Again, thanks, Coach Ryan Hoden. Congratulations on being the new head football coach at Thomas Jefferson, and we appreciate you coming into the studio for the interview. That's going to wrap up today's show. We have a busy week ahead, and I'm looking forward to it. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.